Welcome back to the Fulfilled Female Entrepreneur Podcast. It's your host, Cassandra Rosa. I'm a certified coach and healer and intuitive business coach. And the mission behind all that I do is to help you to create a fulfilling life and business. I'm so excited to have Pamela on here today. She is a client of mine. She is an author, and we're so excited to be speaking about mental health, as it's Mental Health Awareness Month this month. So I figured it would be a very timely time to have the conversation. So first and foremost, before I formally introduce you, I want to thank you so much, Pamela, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I've been looking forward to this and getting the chance to speak with you. We've been through so much, and yeah, this is an exciting time to get to talk to you.
Yes, very timely. I'm excited to introduce you to Pamela. She's a best-selling author of the book Speaking Up About Mental Health Crisis and a mental health coach from Ontario, Canada. Her mission is to help end the stigma of mental health worldwide by sharing her story and encouraging others to do the same. She has a background in creative communications, journalism, and social work. See the link in the description of this video or the show notes for the podcast to see all the places that you can pick up her book and connect with her on Instagram. Her handle is Speaking Up About Mental Health. It's so cool. It's a very surreal moment to be able to read your bio today. I love it.
Yeah, it is surreal. It is, right? Yeah, coming from the moment we met to now, it's been such an incredible experience. We've been through a lot, and you've seen me, while I was in, writing my book, and we've been through a lot, and to be able to read my bio, I'm so honored that you're introducing me now to people.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we started working together a few years ago, and then she kind of had this idea about the book, and we spoke about it and coached about it. And I remember just having such a surreal moment when I had the book in my hands, and just this moment of so much like honor to be a part of your journey and to know that, I was part of those conversations of you bringing it to light. So special. Before we get into all things mental health and your journey, I love to ask all my guests what fulfillment means to them. So, how would you answer that question?
I think that fulfillment used to mean something different to me. It used to be like an outside source of something that I wanted to achieve, or like a goal, or I'd always look to outside things like a job or a relationship. Something that I couldn't fulfill myself. But now it's different. Now I look to, how I'm feeling in the inside, and it's a state of being. And it's how I feel about my life. And, how can I not be fulfilled when I'm alive and breathing and learning and growing? So I feel different about it now. It's more of a being state.
That's so powerful. And I really love how you're touching on the basics, going back to basics about living, about breathing, how that is so fulfilling. And it's such an honor to be here, to be able to live every single day. And in the process of writing the book and getting it out there and sharing your message to people, what's been the most fulfilling part so far?
Just seeing how everybody has come together with the message of speaking up about mental health. So my mission is to help end the stigma of mental health. And that's, worldwide, but yet we can only do, I'm one person. So it takes a community of people to be able to share that message. And so that's been really fulfilling to see that, and just, know that we're making progress. Through the book and sharing the message.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a powerful message, and I can feel your passion for the topic and knowing your story. But for people that haven't crossed your path before, do you want to talk a little bit about your whole experience with your mental health journey?
So mental health has always been a part of my life, whether I was aware of it or not. I have a long history with mental health in my family. I have an uncle who has schizophrenia, and my mother was his primary caregiver for a long time. So that's where it started. And so when I decided, that I wanted to become a social worker, I wanted to be able to help people who, were going through difficult times like that, who were experiencing, addiction, um, you know, and then in during the pandemic is when I struggled with my own mental health. And so that's when I started writing the book too. I had a coworker who was tragically murdered at work. And so, yeah, that was a very difficult time. And yeah, I had to really come to terms with a lot of things and why mental health was a part of my journey. So, yeah, it's just always been there.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember hearing about what happened to your coworker and how the pandemic was affecting you. That's when we were working together very closely during that time. And it was a big wake up call for a lot of people when it came to mental health at that specific time of the evolution and all over the world. There was a lot of people that were struggling with it. Um, During the process of writing the book, what really inspired you to share your story and speak up and speak about it in this beautiful way?
Um, yeah, well, I had to build back my confidence. That was, I had to, be comfortable with saying, I need help and to look for help. And being someone who is a social worker and then, you're helping other people all the time. And so it's a lot of giving. And so, they talk about like burnout and, but I think there was just so many things that culminated like into like that moment where I was just like, you know what, I need to be vulnerable and I need to, yeah, I'm the one who needs help now to be able to get through this period of my life. And yeah, so that was really, where being able to share and talk about it with people who I felt safe with really helped me. And yeah, writing was very cathartic. It was, yeah, I journaled a lot. I, it was good to get my thoughts out instead of holding them in. And I think sometimes that's what we don't do that. We will just keep everything inside and bottle it up. And that's when it can become, more serious. So,
Hmm. Yeah, and there's so much power that comes up about speaking up about it and asking for help. And what really led you to speak up? What were you experiencing? And was there like a tipping point in which you said, enough is enough? It's time to seek the support and speak up about what your experiences were?
yeah. Well, so when my coworker was murdered, so I had, said something at work prior to that happening about safety, and I felt like my voice was not heard. And so after that, I was like, oh, people aren't listening. How do I get people to listen when I'm just, trying to help? And, you know, I felt like there were changes that could have been made if, people were taking things more seriously. Um, so yeah, so to me it was about life. It was about, how do we help each other in those times? And yeah, I wanted my voice to be heard. But yeah, I had to also gain my voice back because I felt like I had lost it. And so, yeah, so that's why the speaking up and also like speaking up with a capital up because it's meant to, speaking the truth, but to uplift others, not to demean them. And so, yeah, that's what I want to see people doing with mental health.
Yeah. I love that capital up that you were sharing, about sharing your experiences, what you were going through, speaking that out there into the universe to people, right? And then allowing that to be a catalyst to uplift people and to be able to end the stigma and to be able to normalize mental health just as much as physical health is normalized, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So in the process of writing your book, I've read it. I'm honored enough to be featured in your book as well. Do you want to speak to the journey that you take people on for the readers as they read your book?
Yeah, so I start from when I was feeling silent and alone with my mental health, and yeah, when I felt like I didn't have a voice. And, I take them through that experience. I explain, what the circumstances were through COVID and the pandemic and why I felt so, yeah, just shut out. Because I was, for a lot of people who felt isolated, we didn't have, choices. A lot of choices were taken away from us. And coping strategies, like I play a lot of sports and I wasn't allowed to, do those things. So I had to find like other ways too to be able to get through it. And yeah, so I take them through that and what helped me, and maybe that might help them as well. And then, yeah, how we can come together as a community and be able to break the stigma. It takes other people being able to share their stories and safe spaces, creating those spaces for each other. And yeah.
I love that. I love how you take them through a journey, and there's a lot of your personal stories, as well as you share so many beautiful quotes in there. And you also have the practical tools, which is so beautiful and so important for the readers so that they can have the breakthrough while they're reading the book. And it was very powerful, but very potent, even for me to be able to read it. And I think that this is very timely because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, but I also really think it's an important conversation to have with the spiritual entrepreneurs that are listening. Because, like you said in the beginning, we give, we give, we give with all that we do. And sometimes while you're going through the process of doing so, we can kind of get forgotten and our mental health can be put on the back burner. So I think that this is a really important conversation to have, especially with the entrepreneurs and everybody that's listening. Um, as it's important to prioritize our own mental health and to speak up about our struggles in a very authentic way, because I think that's what a lot of people are seeking in the industry right now, is that authenticity and that connection, and that helps to allow more people to be seen and heard and understood. So if someone is struggling with their mental health right now and they're feeling the call to speak up, maybe to receive support for themselves, or to even share more about their story online or in a book for people, what would be some practical tools that you used in your journey to allow you to speak up authentically about your mental health?
Yeah, I say it's all about connecting back with ourselves and getting to know ourselves better. Um, because yeah, we're not always thinking about we're not, processing things. You know, we have to allow ourselves that time, and so taking that time to get to know ourselves. Um, I have a tattoo, and it's about knowing yourself, right? And so that I believe is like the foundation for everything that we do. Um, and yeah, so then once you know yourself, you're your own expert. You're the only one who has been through your life, and yeah, knows the things that have caused you to have maybe your own mental health issues. So then it's being able to communicate about that, learning how to speak about it in a way that other people can understand. Or yeah, so communication is very important. And yeah, and then being able to express yourself and love yourself. You have to, yeah, really build back that self-esteem. You know, we will, we will lose our self-esteem sometimes when we're going through those times. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that process is really important. And it's beautiful that you have that reminder with your tattoo about the importance of knowing yourself. And what were like the practical tools that you use in your life to be able to know yourself more? Like, was there specific exercises? I know you include a lot in your book, and
Yeah.
I don't want you to give it all away because obviously we want you to pick up the book, listeners. But what were the most like effective, practical things that you did to be able to know yourself, to feel more confident again, and like the way to communicate it to people that needed to hear about your mental health?
Yeah. So for me, always writing and journaling is was a very effective way for me. I could just let myself go on the page, and then I could go back later and reread things, and then I'd be like, oh, it, it gives you insight, you know. But yeah, not to like hold yourself back either. Like journaling is a very personal experience, and yeah, you should be able to just share yourself um, authentically. Yeah, do that. And then, well, music. So I do share, songs that I really resonate with in the book. And so there's like a track list of songs that, you know, because other people can say words that might, allow us to think about things in a different way. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, it's learning, uh, reading, writing, listening, educating. Yeah, just educating ourselves, I'd say would be the main thing.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's really important. And you can definitely feel your passion for music on each chapter. You mentioned a bunch of songs along the way, and they were almost themes, which was very beautiful to experience along there with you as you were reading the book. And do you want to speak a little bit to what your experience was writing the book? And speaking up about, the vulnerable stories that you shared and then the tools that were working for you. What was the experience like speaking up and being so vulnerable as you wrote every sentence on every page?
Yeah. Well, so in prior to becoming a social worker, I was a journalist. So I like to naturally ask a lot of questions. So that's sort of how I started was, yeah, asking myself these questions. And yeah, and that's, and then when we were working together, you would ask me a lot of insightful questions. And so I was like, hmm. So yeah, I think that was a very important part of it, and that's why I include a lot of questions also in the book so that people can do that for themselves too and write things out. Um, yeah, and yeah, the experience, like, well, so when I met my publisher, so they had uh, it was like a program. It was called the Author Generator Society, and so it was a group of other writers that we got together and we were able to share ideas, and that felt like a very safe space for me to be able to express myself, and just knowing like other people were going through the same process of book writing. Um, yeah, and then I read your book. I read other people's books that were inspiring to me. Um, yeah, so yeah, it was just, I mean, I don't know, I loved it. Like, I just want to keep doing it. I would definitely
Yeah.
want to write another book. So
Oh, for sure, for sure. That naturally just exudes your passion when you're talking about the whole process. And I remember every time we would check in about it, you'd be so excited about how the process was unfolding for you. And you keep mentioning like these questions and this inquisitive nature. Was there any specific question that comes top of mind that you felt like was very um, insightful, or you had a breakthrough in the writing book process as it was all unfolding?
yeah, the main question, I guess, is when do we say something? When is the right time to say something? Um, sometimes you can feel like, um, well, it's with everything, right? Like, should I say something? Shouldn't I? What do I say? How do I say it? Um, and that's with anything, not just with mental health. That's kind of like the main thing is, how do I say this, and what do I say, so that people understand, and yeah, so that they're not like, we worry. Well, I was worried about judgment, if people knew that I had a mental health issue, um, and so yeah, but you kind of have to put that aside and not worry so much about what other people are going to think. Yeah, you have to, yeah, just, that's why I say it's an inside job, you know?
Yeah. So if someone's listening and they're feeling this pull, this call to speak up about their mental health, what just speak from the heart and share what message that you feel called to deliver to the people that are feeling the call and just needing support to take the step. What would that be?
Yeah. Well, for some reason, I keep seeing rainbows everywhere lately. There's something with the rainbow. And then I came across this quote by Maya Angelou, and so it's about being the rainbow in someone else's cloud. So I think that that's what we need to be for each other, is, you know, being the brightness and the light and bringing that to each other's lives. Yeah, because we're all going through something, you know, regardless of where we are, or, you know, so yeah, being the rainbow for each other.
I love that. That's a very beautiful message. And I think that that imagery is so powerful and so potent, especially in those moments of darkness when people are going through their struggles, seeing the rainbow of people sharing their message and seeing it as a form of inspiration. It could be something that people seek and they need to be able to make that breakthrough and to create their own rainbow. So I love that imagery. So if people are listening and they're like, yes, I am loving what Pamela's sharing, I want to pick up her book, where can they go and get a copy?
Yeah, so it's on Amazon, both in Canada and the US, and yeah, globally, wherever Amazon is. It's at 39,000 retailers worldwide. So yeah, if you Google it, you might be able to find it, you know, at a local bookstore. But in Canada, we have Indigo. So there's Indigo chapters, and in the States, there's Barnes and Noble. So yeah, those would be the larger bookstores where you can get it.
Amazing. We're going to leave links to all the different places you can pick it up in the show notes. And if they're listening to you and they want to connect to you on social media, where's your favorite platform that you've been hanging out most lately?
Yeah, I hang out a lot on Facebook. I think it's, you know, it's one that I'm comfortable with because we've just always all been on it.
Yeah.
But I'm also on Instagram at Speaking Up About Mental Health. So I would love for people to join me there. And as I'm growing into my Instagram account, yeah, there'll be a lot more content there. But yeah, I would love people to join me on Instagram and tag
Amazing.
me.
Is there,
Tag
yes,
Speaking Up at Mental Health.
yes, yes. Pick up the book, tag her, connect with her. And is there any final words of wisdom that you want to share to close off this conversation today?
I just want to thank you so much. Like, you've been such an amazing support, and I know, like, the work that you do is so amazing, and I just couldn't be here with it.
Aw, that means the world. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. I feel that. And I'm so grateful for you and so proud of you for delivering such a powerful message for people with your book and in this conversation today. So thank you for being here. It's been so fun.
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, you know I'm emotional and I cry, so I
Me too. Me too. I'm holding it back right now.
yeah.
Definitely go pick up Pamela's book, everyone. Thank you for being here and tuning into this episode. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram at Cassandra Rosa A, and come and check out the podcast every Thursday to hear more interviews like this about people sharing about what fulfills them most. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.